I think the other thing that we talked about is time of year. So that's the other question we get. Like, she's still in the middle of games. Is this make a sense to start now? And again, I think that's just maybe like a misunderstanding of training, because we think of it very much as it's this off season thing. We're going to do off season training. And certainly off season is the time where you're going to make substantial change. You need time off from games to really make change and to have the change be lasting and to make, change in patterns. It's hard to be going just all high intensity games and make change. We know that to be true. But that's just a block of your player development and a certain approach. And player development really ebbs and flows around you in time of year, especially when we're talking about this age group. I gave the example to you, Laura, before we got on of like, yes, you're not going to take a professional baseball player, professional softball player and say, hey, it's June. Let's go, hit the lab and make some tweaks to your motion in the middle of the year. For the reasons we're saying, they're at this very narrow window and bucket. Now, they might still monitor and tweak things as things are going off, but they're not going to make these like wholesale changes to their patterns at that time of year. If I am 14 or 15 and I am thinking about sort of my long-term career path and coming into a system with us where you do, I'm just our system, but it can be whatever system, where you do a biomech assessment and you go into like think of for a pitcher for a second, like a plyo program. And that does slowly start to kind of make some maybe timing changes and pattern changes. And maybe that messes with your timing a little bit or your command a little bit as you're adjusting to that. Although we don't make like really wholesale crazy changes, but if it does, it can mess with your timing, or you can feel a little like disoriented in that. Is that the worst thing to happen in the fall of your 14U year?
Right.
Like,
to destabilize some inefficient patterns, right?
Right. We're like, this is not catastrophic. So again, it goes to this messaging we're sending that like you must be in your final form at these very young ages. And so we get so scared to make changes. And the problem with that at the youth level is the off season then when we're fine with making changes is 3 months, 2 months. And so we don't have time to do those things. And so sometimes for me, I'm like, it's not a bad time, because one, the way we look at training, you likely aren't going to feel this massive, like, we're not going to break you down to build you up, or the way that people sort of think about it, where you feel totally insane and not like yourself. That's not really how we look at training or how we approach training. And also, to the extent there is a little bit of like destabilization, who cares? Like, I think there's an element of like, we'll write it out, we'll talk about it.
You have to be flexible and resilient, or your movement solutions are not affording you the ability to be flexible and to be resilient, meaning fatigue's going to smack you in the face. Weather patterns are going to smack you in the face. Like,